I'm really excited to be here. I hope you are too, everyone. The last time I spoke at a live conference was in 2019. Who's with me on that one? Has it been a little while? At that one, I was speaking on communication in front of a large group, about 300 agriculture producers. So I wasn't the highlight for them. So it was a really tough crowd. So I was quite nervous. And I came in with my nerves and I sat down to breakfast. And at my breakfast table was Dr. Sylvain Charlebois. Sylvain Charlebois is a professor in Eastern Canada, and I love his work. He's like my academic crush. I have a couple of them. Do you have academic crushes? Like, it's those people that when they produce something, you go and you read it, and you're like really excited to see them speak again. And I'm sitting with Sylvain, and I'm presenting right after Sylvain, so my nerves went from like here to like tuk, 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 and I could feel them going up because he, to me, is like someone I aspire to be. So I'm a little nervous like that today, and I want to like feel those feelings with you. You have an academic crush or a professional role model of some sort? Yes? No? A couple? Okay. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. If you're uncomfortable closing your eyes, feel free to just look down at your hands or at the ground. I know some people feel uncomfortable with that, but I want you, please, close your eyes or look down. And I want you to picture yourself in this room as you are, but see yourself there. And as you see yourself in here with those people beside you, now imagine that after I'm done speaking, it's your turn, and you didn't know that. And so now you're going to start preparing in your head what it is you're going to talk about, and your body's starting to change. And then you're in your mind's eye, you're looking around the room, and you see that academic crush, that professional role model sitting there. Now think about what your body is doing. Do you feel some changes? Is your stomach churning? Sometimes we feel it there. Sometimes our shoulders tense up a little bit. Sometimes it's in our jaw. That's my personal favorite. So open up your eyes. What did you guys feel? Does anyone want to share something that they felt? Yes. Heart, that's a good one, right? Oh, love that one. It reminds you you're alive, for sure.
Mine's racing heart also, and that's one of the things that I wanted to become.
Yeah, that racing heart, for sure. Anything different? Thoughts. Tick, 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 tick. Right, and then, am I gonna sound like an idiot? Yeah, a little bit of that, for sure. Yeah. Oh.
I said
Doubt. Oh, is it gonna be good enough? What an opportunity. Am I okay to do that? The lump in your throat. That one tenses up.
You're all gonna find out.
Right? Bum, bum. Totally. We get these feelings, and it's so important to identify them. That's one of the first things. We say we're nervous, and sometimes those nerves are really good. They give us energy. There are positives to it. I actually, while we were stuck in the bus for 4 hours yesterday, I was listening to Michelle Obama's new book, and I had it downloaded, and she just happened to say, there's something beautiful about those nerves. Like, they're there, and we can let them control us, or we can, like, get on top of them. And I love that, like, because we can really harness them, right? So now that you have all those feelings, you're welcome. We're going to switch it up a bit. We're going to do what is called box breathing. It's part of pranayama. In this video, they have it as, sorry, it's a little fuzzy, but it'll look fine when we do it. They call it square breathing, but typically it's called box breathing. Has anyone heard of it? I see a couple people nodding. Awesome. So box breathing is 4 parts of our breath. There are 4 parts. You're like, no, there isn't. I breathe in, I breathe out. That's 2. Yeah, you're right. But there's 4. Actually, you breathe in, you hold the inhale, you breathe out, you hold the exhale. Those are the 4 parts. So we're going to do it all together because I want to get rid of those awful feelings I just gave you. Huh? You're welcome. All right. So we're going to start with an inhale, so be ready to inhale. This is going to be 4 counts for each. So ignore the music. Hold your inhale. Exhale. It'll take you a second to get on the rhythm. Hold the exhale. Okay? Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Do you feel the difference? I love it. Do you feel the difference in the energy of the room, too? It's really nice. Okay, now we're going to talk about excursions. Trust me, do you ever do this in class where you're like, it'll all add up, right? Like, I'm going to jump here, and I'm going to jump there, and then it's like all going to come together, believe me. All right, so 2 excursions yesterday. I know a group of you went to Yellowstone. I went to Jackson Hole. I had no idea what to expect with this place. I've been on a road trip. Some of you have heard I've been on a road trip already for a week. My children you may see running around here, and I'm really tired. But we did Yellowstone last weekend. I didn't know what to expect with Jackson Hole. And so we left here at 7:30 in the morning, and what a beautiful drive out to Jackson Hole. We got there and went up a tram, and our summer vacation turned into this beautiful winter blustering wind vacation with some great waffles at the top of a mountain. Best waffles I've ever had. We walked around, saw the sights from the top of the mountain. My kids were freezing, but man, they were laughing, which was thank goodness for that. Took the tram down, wandered around, then we went over to Jenny Lake, walked around Jenny Lake. I've heard a lot of people, as they find out I'm from Alberta, say, I really want to go to Canada, to Banff and Jasper. Yeah, that's all we got. But yeah, Banff and Jasper, Jenny Lake, little walk, and the mountains and the lake, that really reminded me of Banff, which is close to my home. And then we liked each other so much that we stayed on the bus for 4 hours. It was a lovely day. I just gave you a really quick 1-minute summary about Jackson Hole. Any of you that went to the Yellowstone trip want to give us a 1-minute summary about what you did, what it looked like? You are profs. You know to participate. Yes, thank you. I'm going to give you the microphone, though. Please.
We saw baby bison, lots of them. I know! That was probably the best part. We got to see wolves and bears, and it was really windy and really overcast. So some of the geysers, we didn't get to see like the magnificent colors, but we got to see as much as we could. So it was amazing.
Great, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Within 5 minutes of driving into Yellowstone, there was a big herd of bison walking right beside me with babies and everything. And I'm like, we can turn around. I am good. Thank you for sharing. It will all add up. So I am Tara Williams. Thank you so much for introducing me. I teach at Medicine Hat College. I have taught there this will be my 16th year. I also work for the City of Medicine Hat. I do a lot of communication work. I do facilitation in mental health on behalf of Mental Health Commission of Canada internally there. I work with engineers on communication. Yay. Some of my favorite conversations. I absolutely love it. And so I am here to talk to you about arming students with presentation skills so they could share with confidence and purpose. And I know you teach them so much skilled marketing. I teach in marketing, I teach organizational behavior, and of course, communications. So just so you know where I am, we are right here in Idaho Falls. Go straight up. That is me. That's Banff. So people always say, how far of a drive was it? I'm trying not to think about it. So when I thought about this topic, and we'll get to all those things that we just did, but when I thought about this topic, I reflected back to when I was a marketing student. I have a double major in marketing and biotechnology management. We can ignore that second part. So my undergrad was marketing, and you know what I remember about marketing and presentations? This insane pressure cooker of the end of the semester. I was so lucky for advertising to be in Barbara Phillips's class. If any of you have read or teach in advertising, read some of Dr. Barbara Phillips's work. She's brilliant, and I was so lucky to be in her class. But our final exam was a presentation. 6 people's grades relied on me and one other person doing a presentation, a pitch, and I had a brilliant team. What I can tell you about that day is I remember walking in, I remember seeing the panel. We were the last team that day, and every team as they were done could stay and watch. So we had the entire class, we were the last ones, and we walked in, and we had a really difficult pitch. We were going back and forth. It was a tough setup that we decided to do because we were a little competitive. And I can't tell you anything else about that day. I remember nothing about speaking. And then what happened next? We had a little break, and then we went back to school. And I learned nothing from that because I didn't have that stepping stone of speaking. And that was a major issue. And so when I thought about this lecture today, I thought about that. We need to do better in building confidence in speaking so that we can manage the heart racing, so we can figure out how to get the lump out of the throat before we do get to those high-stake presentations. I'm not saying don't do high-stake presentations. Heck yes. But we need to build up to it. So in my textbook, it says to have 10 to 15% introduction and then 10 to 15% conclusion. I did 50% introduction. I'm totally going against everything that I teach. Anyway, okay, so here are the objectives for today. Identify apprehension. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about discovering tools to ease apprehension and then creating low stakes opportunities. So first off, identify apprehension. What are the reactions we have when we think about public speaking? You just felt it. And the thing is that we expect students to stand up and speak, and we don't allow them to feel those feelings and then try and help them figure it out. I was an elite athlete growing up. I knew how to deal with nerves on the pool deck. I couldn't translate them into the classroom. I tried, but there just wasn't enough space for that. So help students identify that. Help them feel those feelings and identify them. Ask them how they feel before speaking. And then we need to give them tools to get on top of those nerves. Some of the ways, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Some of the ways that we can do that. So you felt them, right? You felt what they felt like. And then we did some box breathing. See, it's all coming together. Allow them the space to do these actions. Have you guys ever had those times where the students come in and they sit down in your classroom and you can feel their tension? And you're like, who has an exam today? Is it accounting that has the exam today? Because accountants are jerks, right? But you can feel the students. They're apprehensive. They have a lot going on. That video was 3 minutes long. We didn't even play a third of it. If the students come in and the energy is like that, play one of those videos. There's a million online. They're on YouTube. I use Insight Timer, which is my favorite app. Calm.com is free for educators. I use a lot of doyogawithme.com. So many resources. Have them in your back pocket and in your arsenal. Because once they calm down, then they can hear what you have to say. If they are apprehensive, if they are nervous about their exam, they hear nothing anyway. And if you take 3 to 5 minutes, you've just settled them down, and now they're there. Second part of that is, so are you. So you're more chill, and you're going to be able to communicate better as well. So meditation, box breathing is just one of my favorite. It's real stuff. Navy SEALs use it on a regular basis. It's not just like made up hooty garbage. That one was 3 minutes. That video is 3 minutes. Yeah. There's lots of different options. You can also just use mantras. So get students to breathe deep, and you can give them a mantra or give them options for mantras. So one of my personal favorites is, okay, when you inhale, I want you to think the word confidence. And when you exhale doubt. So those like negative words that are like, I'm a loser, that's going out. So as you're breathing in, inhale confidence, exhale doubt. And you can feel a change in your body as you do that. There's millions of mantras, millions of things that students can do. Visualization and mental rehearsal, sometimes these are used interchangeably. They should not be. They are different. Mental rehearsal, I did mental rehearsal before I left Canada. So that was, okay, if I walk in and their remote doesn't work, as it didn't today, I had a remote in my bag. But I had that remote in my bag because I thought about the things that could go wrong. I emailed myself my presentation. It was on my computer. Neither of those worked. I had a thumb drive. Mental rehearsal for the win. I walked through the whole thing and made sure that I thought about all those things that were going to go wrong, and I figured out how I was going to alleviate that from happening. That's mental rehearsal. Visualization is different. Visualization is picturing, stopping, imagining yourself doing the presentation and watching yourself doing it perfectly. When the students do visualization, they don't see the room from this way. Allow them the opportunity to stand up in the room and see it from your perspective. They know the room, but they know it from there. They don't know it from here. And that really, really helps with visualization if they can see the room, because I know where my friends are sitting, and I can make sure that my eye contact is distributed around the room because I know where they are. And it helps them in their head deliver it in a more precise, perfectionist way so that they've already done it in their head. Practice, like for real. I know, we're like, tell the students, practice your presentation, and then they come and do it, and it's 10 minutes too long. Oh, did you practice? Weird, you didn't. Oh, couldn't have guessed, right? But allow them space to practice. Book them rooms. Are there spaces to practice? Book the rooms. Don't say, hey, if you want to practice, I'll book you a room. They're not going to, right? Book the room, schedule the room, inform the students, or even schedule them to go in for different practice times. You have to make them do it. Once they do it, and once they actually do the practice, they'll realize that it actually works. Create low stakes opportunities. I really think that this is such a huge thing that we need to do. Instead of having these pressure cooker situations at the end of semesters where we have these big projects and they haven't spoken before, they need to ease into it. Not that you shouldn't have those. I think these high stakes things need to happen. I always tell my students, if you're gonna fail here. Let's work through it. If you're gonna freeze here. That's awesome, great. Now how are we gonna work through it? How are we going to get you through it? What did you do before that didn't work? What can we change for that? So creating a safe space, Kate did an excellent job of articulating many ways to create a safe space, which are things that I would talk about here, talking to people as they come in, being aware, learning the students' names, right? Creating safe space, noticing when they're a little different, having those conversations, asking them if everything's okay. Impromptu discussions. I demonstrated how to talk about Jackson Hole, and then Christina so kindly followed up and talked about Yellowknife. That's in Canada. Yellowstone. I'm back in Canada. About Yellowstone. Get the students to talk off the cuff more regularly, and it doesn't have to be planned. It doesn't have to be, hey, we're going to do impromptus today. Oh, like that's like nerves to the nth degree, right? Have it more soft, but have them share. And I'm sure a lot of you do parent shares, right? Where you're working on like, hey, Krispy Kreme is going to go into Canada. Come up with a marketing strategy to go into Canada. What's your pitch going to be? What's your direction? Oh, we're going to make donuts be hockey pucks. Okay, yeah, heard it. But have them pair up and have them present, have one of them present, but then ask the other one, so do you have anything to add to what your partner talked about? And get them to talk. Ask them to add in. Don't just say, do you have anything to say? Of course not, right? But create space, get them talking a lot more. Early stage 1 deadlines. I do this with one of my projects and it works so well, and it doesn't add a lot to my time. I know time is of the essence. So one of my projects, I have it due about a week and a half prior to the final delivery, and I get the students to record themselves doing the presentation, so it forced them to practice. And if it's over time, then they realize it's over time, or if they see problems with their strategy, then they see problems with their strategy. I don't grade it. All they do is send me the recording, and they send me a self-assessment. So this is what I did really well. This is what I need to work on. For that's public speaking, so it's a lot of like delivery, but content as well, and that type of assessment. And I actually grade their assessment on their ability to evaluate themselves. Really funny, this year, my students that did it, all of them graded themselves a 7 out of 10 on the first one. I thought that was really interesting. I'm pretty good, but I got a little bit more to go. I thought that was pretty kind of them, because some of them should, well, we'll see. Anyway, but it made them get it done, and it made them practice, and there were big changes that were made always between that week. There's always big changes that are made, and they feel way more confident coming in to the pressure cooker. So identify the apprehension, allow the students space to feel what they're feeling and identify them and write it down. And then maybe do some breathing, write it down. How do they feel after they do that? Show them how that helps, because they're not going to do it until they feel it. Discover the tools to ease apprehension, bring in some breathing into class. Throw in some 3-5 minute videos. There's so many free resources, and they're gonna suck at doing it right before the pressure cooker if they don't practice it beforehand, right? So even those easing strategies, they have to get better at as well, and create more low stakes opportunities. Stop with just having the pressure cooker. So how can we ease in and have those steps as we move to that really high stakes delivery? So, like I said, when I think about this, I thought about myself in university, and I hope that you're able to reflect on who you were and how that was kind of tough. And what did you want to leave with? And what do you hope to give your students in terms of delivery and skill set? Because we've been talking about AI. This is definitely an area where AI can't replace them, right? This is a skill set that they need to have. They need to be able to be confident and speak up in low and high pressure situations. So I want to thank Stu Kent for having me and for believing in our product of public speaking. I think we have put something really unique together, and thank you for participating in this presentation, because as we all know, a better classroom is one where people participate, right? Thank you very much.